this is Pigsy doing another vid. So I've been sort of thinking about sexuality, and it kind of falls into a set of patterns. It's probably quite important for MGTOW or anything else really, sexual development. So there's probably about 3 different areas of sexuality. Maybe there's more, there's like rings that overlap. So what you have is you have a biological sexuality, so you're drawn to somebody, internally you find them attractive because maybe they've got genetic symmetry, they may be of a certain race, there may be a genetic blend, something that you're attracted to about them. So that's at one level. And then again you've got your personal choice, like sexual development, what you're interested in, you know, because some people repeat cycles because they're locked in, and other people are trying to look for something new or try to develop themselves. We kind of rebel against certain things and question qualities in ourselves and, you know, partners and all these sorts of things. Our interests change as well. Now. Oh, leave my lights on, I don't need my lights on. It's not bloody dark. Right, and so that's kind of another layer. So imagine it's like onion, possibly, or there's an overlapping. The overlapping would be that somebody's, it's where the rings to storm. I don't know if they're necessarily, or it's just a profile. So if you've got like a small central ring, and then another ring on the outside, another ring, they would form these different qualities, and it would be very centralised. However, if they overlap but they're pulled apart, it could be some sort of psychological change. Like somebody, let's say maybe they're like a switch. There in some way, their sexuality is you know, sometimes they fancy one sex, sometimes they fancy something else. So they got a bit of I wouldn't say it's disharmony, but rather that it's a kind of, that could be the flexibility. Sometimes they talk about head flex and other certain sexualities. So it could be the adaptability, which brings on to the next ring, which would be things like the social and environmental factors. Now, social it could be from a positive standpoint, but it's also the representation of what you are gender-wise, socially as well. You know, somebody could be heterosexual but like dressing up as a woman, and he sort of comes to this part of this social ring, he likes to play out this character, or he's always felt he's feminine. Or reverse of that, woman likes to be very masculine, so maybe she dedicates some of that, and that's that kind of flexy thing, like this ring isn't perfectly a certain shape, it's somewhere else, slightly off, because they play out, or there's some kind of, almost like morphology from the psychological point, is that the ring may encompass another ring there as well. So it could be like, but that would be generating into split personality, like MK Ultra and stuff like that. It's a bit like they say that, I heard say it was probably 8 out of 10, and people that are psychopaths are gay, and I don't know if that's completely true, but it's just from the ratio of ones that somebody was dealing with. However, they might not be gay, it's more of a case of they've got a kind of morphed sexuality, because they basically, it's a bit rewired, their brain is different. So they might not be typically, they might not be interested in the extreme of themselves or the opposites of it, or the opposite. If it is split personality, it might be the aggressive side of them, but it's also doesn't have compassion for women, so therefore it's developed compassion for men, or something it can reflect itself in. Or it might be extremely narcissistic, men that remind them of themselves. So they might be a bit more complex. Or the person that woman that's reminded by a female. But or maybe she wants to nurture. Nurture is always a prime thing. It might give her stability, so therefore she may nurture things while she attacks other things that she sees as a threat. So it's different, slightly different profile. But sociopaths are created by psychopaths, they say, are born, unless there's something that happened in order to switch off that part of their brain. Possibly drugs could change it as well. Someone's, you know, if they had some kind of brain damage in some way, because it's the neural connection of consciousness, of having a conscience around some of the behaviour, or just feeling it's wrong, and but if they don't have that sense of feeling, that's different. So that's sort of the dynamics. Most people say you're this or you're that, but it's not. It's a bit more of a mixture between that. I mean, I've known someone, and she said she was bi. Well, she thought she was gay, but she's working with male teammates, so an environmental factor. And then she started saying I think she had like a dream where she fantasised about a male member of the team, and she was sort of a bit miffed and thrown by that. And so she basically had, because of some insecurities, this is more of, I guess, the personal level, she experienced she's close to her father. Her father died quite young, and I think it left her quite bitter, but it also left her a bit confused in herself, I guess, and so she decided, maybe it was a coping mechanism, I don't know. She wasn't really keen to form a relationship with a male, so she went for a female, and it's just kind of, so a biological though, might be pulling her back to, you're getting older now, you want children, you might be looking for this family dynamic, maybe before her father died, so it's in there, it's ingrained in her. And so I think she partnered off with an older guy, but whether she is or not, however, her appearance is very, very tomboyish. She was a little bit of a toxic personality she had. As for me, I think I'm probably pansexual, but I've got a heterosexual conditioning, so I'm attracted and interested in women because I've been raised in an environment that's had them factors. However, I'm not limited to how I feel, but it's not like I switch it on and think, oh yeah, I fancy them, or I fancy someone of the same sex or opposite sex. Rarely I've met people and I've had a kind of, I had this kind of like, well, that, you know, he's interesting, you know, and I thought, well, this is a bit different. This is a bit weird, you know, because it was unusual to have them perceive feelings, and it was because he was very, I think he's very well groomed, and there was certain feminine qualities in there as well. So it wasn't rugged or anything, but there's something about this particular person, kind of giving off some kind of energy. So I had that experience. Possibly once or twice in my lifetime, but that's really like the pansexual side, more towards the females. I mean, I wouldn't be necessarily interested in a relationship, it's just there's some interest or attraction. And I guess back to the environmental, I mean, if I lived with someone and they were like that and they were interested in me, that would probably start to have an impact on my psyche. I'd be like, yeah. But with females equally, there's been attractive females I've come in contact, and I haven't had any, because of their personality or something else about them that does make them appealing. So I guess really, for like the MGTOW, it's experiment. Oh, that's my exhaust. That was experiment. What works? Rewrite the rules. I mean, there's lots of opportunities out there, and also things that might be a bit unconventional that you can always explore. Just long to keep yourself safe, and you know, and just do what's in your best interest. So anyway, this has been a sign off, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.